You'll see I'm not alone today. Joining me is Brooke. She's head coach of the Bots of Prey 240, which is the first Lego League Challenge team. And with her is three of her students, Rivers, Phoenix, and Grayson. And they've been up to some pretty cool things with Legos. Hey, Brooke.
Hey.
It is so good to have you guys here and to have you sharing your story. Let's talk about your Lego League first, Brooke, because to me, this is a good thing in and of itself. How did the Bots of Prey 240 even come about?
Well, my son River and I and my family went to see a competition in Little Rock back in 2000, early 2020. And they were from all over the world. There was teams from Mexico there, just about anywhere you could think of. And they were all there competing. And we just happened to see that they were having this robotics competition because River has been interested in robotics since he was 4. And so we went to watch it and he fell in love. And so we told him we would get him on a team. And then COVID happened and all the teams kind of shut down, or the teams in our area shut down. And when we decided it was time to get him on a team, finally, we could not find one in the area. So we started one ourselves.
Well, there you go. And that's how you do it. And that's how you start, sort of a movement and opening the doors for others to have the opportunity to have one in their community. So what do you do? How does the Lego Challenge team work? Do you create things and then go and compete with it? Or are you given sort of instructions on what to build and then, get judged on that? How does that part of it work, Brooke?
So basically, every year there's a new season that comes out, and August will be the beginning of our next season. This past season was energy was the theme. We are given missions to create, certain missions that follow what they call the robot game. And so the kids build those missions, and I believe we had 14 of them this past season. Don't quote me on that. And the kids built them. We have this big game table, and they have Lego. It's Spike Prime is the kit. It's an education robotics kit, and they build their base robot, and then they code it to complete all these missions. So, like an example of the missions this past season is we had a windmill that they had to code the bot to push to release what they called energy modules. And so every mission that they completed, they gained points for. And we had a 2.5-minute autonomous run that they competed in a qualifier this past January.
Sounds pretty cool. I could see why Rivers and the rest of the students would be interested in having something like that to do. Now, one of your missions, I don't think was part of the, formal packet there or to be part of the Lego Challenge. It was kind of personal and it was kind of local. And that was you guys connecting with the Central Mississippi Turtle Rescue for a particularly special turtle, Lieutenant Dan, which he already steals my heart. So how did this connection happen with Lieutenant Dan the turtle?
So Grayson's mother actually is a volunteer for Central Mississippi Turtle Rescue, and we have a mutual friend named Jen that actually is fostering Lieutenant Dan. And Lieutenant Dan has been dragging his shell because of his amputation of his back 2 legs after he was hit by a car, I believe. And they needed a way to get him up off of his stomach so that he could get out and explore outside. He does really good in his own enclosure, but they wanted him to be able to have a little bit more quality of life and be able to get around outside. So Carrie, Grayson's mother, contacted us to see if we could build him some sort of device to help him get around. And so we took on the challenge because part of FIRST is making an impact in your community. There's core values that FIRST has, and that is one of the big ones. And so we said, yeah, let's do it. They're all animal lovers. This is a great way to give back to our community and to help an animal, and let's just go for it.
How many prototypes did you guys go through before you landed on one that would work for Lieutenant Dan the turtle?
So we had 3 different builds. We were here for about 2 hours that night. We started off with a much more complex build that had 4-wheel and a cage feature that went over the top of him. We thought that would be the best way to go, but then we actually tried it on him, and he wasn't able to turn the way that you would want him to. So we took it back, scaled it back a little bit, made it a little smaller. The second one worked okay, but then they decided as a team that it would be better to just go simple. So we went down to just a base plate bot to go across his abdomen area or his lower shell area, and some larger off-road tires is what we kept calling them, so that he could get around outside, and that seemed to work the best.
What was it like when you got to see Lieutenant Dan be able to crawl around outside for the first time, sort of elevated in the way, his little shell should be off the ground?
So we haven't got to see him crawl around outside yet, but we did get to see him crawl around the library here where we meet. And it was really cool. It was a cool experience to see him actually being able to turn, because the first few builds he was just going straight, but they were a little too heavy for him to turn. But then once he got a hold of that last one, even like right off the bat, he was taking off pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, it looked like a little
Little turtle car, yeah.
So all the kids probably now are big fans of Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan must be the most cool, or the coolest turtle in Southaven. Obviously, he's got Lego legs.
Exactly, yeah. He's become a little celebrity around here.
So what's the coolest thing? You can let each kid speak up if they want to. The coolest thing they've built with Legos so far.
Who wants to go first? Phoenix, what's the coolest thing that you've built with a Lego? Or with Legos?
I got it by myself without thing.
It's up to you.
The Lego basic robot. Wait.
A Lego.
The Spike Prime robot.
Oh, the basic Spike Prime robot. That was cool. What about you, River?
Yeah. Well, I got this Lego set for Christmas that was called the Mighty Bowser, and that was by far the coolest thing I've ever built. It was huge for being a Lego kit.
And what about you, Grayson?
Probably one of the Lego Mario sets.
Lego Mario?
And it does have turtles in it.
Awesome.
And that's one of my favorites. Oh yeah, the Bowser is a huge turtle monster kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, I think, Brooke, you give all the parents listening who have stepped on their Legos throughout the night, or maybe have Legos scattered all over their house, or know that their kids are interested in it, inspiration that maybe, it can be, funneled or fueled into something else really cool and special, which is having the opportunity to compete with it, or having the opportunity to continue to build cool things for the community. Where can folks learn more about what your team does, and if they want to sort of start one, in their own community?
Sure. So firstinspires.org is the main homepage for First Lego League. They have it for different age groups. Our particular one is First Lego League Challenge. That's geared towards 9 to 14-year-olds. It's a global thing. They're all over the world. And a lot of areas already have teams, but starting your own is cool. They're very, very supportive. You find different mentors in your area that will give you a bunch of information to get one going. For us, we're all homeschoolers, so a lot of the First Lego League teams are in public schools. Some of them already have them, but it's a little harder for homeschoolers to find one. So we just wanted to get one going, and it's the best website you can find for it. For our team in particular, there is the Mississippi First Lego League Facebook page that some of our information is on.
All righty. Well, I think that is super cool. Hey, you guys did a wonderful job helping Lieutenant Dan. I know, how many's on your team? There's 3 of you here today on Good Things, but how many came together to help Lieutenant Dan?
We have 6 total. 6 total teammates.
There was a 7th, but
he didn't make it to do the turtle thing, no.
That's okay. And does your robot have a name? Does your collective robot have a name that you compete with?
What's it? His name was originally Eagle, but then they renamed him to Murder Mantis at the competition because he kept getting stuck. His arms kept getting stuck up, and it was going like this. And so one of our teammates named him that, and we all thought it was hilarious and just went with it.
And went with it. I love that. I love this story. Thank you all. Thank you, River. Thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Brooke, for joining us today on Good Things and for helping Lieutenant Dan. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, you guys stick with this. We got more for you coming up next.